everybody. We're so happy to have you here. If you don't know already, I am Michelle Rourke. I am the founder and creator of Feel Lab. I'm also a quantum physicist and a chemical engineer, an author, an entrepreneur, and a two-time Olympian. Now, I'm not saying that to boast. I just want to give a little bit of that background so you can understand where all this is coming from with a little bit more understanding of our journey and my story and how we got to where we are. So without further ado, what is quantum nutrition? Well, similar to the way you take a vitamin for your physical body, you may take vitamin C, vitamin D, maybe cod liver oil, maybe calcium. It's actually, we've found, more important to take a supplement for a much larger energy body. In fact, we can now show through science what mystics and yogis and intuitives have always known, that one, we have a huge energy body, and two, diseases manifest here first before they take form in the physical body. So if you think of what's health and wellness, it's taking care of the energy body. Now, there's a lot of ways to do that, right? There's a good diet, there's exercise, there's yoga, there's meditation. One of my favorites is spa. I work heavily in the spa industry, and there are some profound things spas are doing in terms of really nurturing and massaging that energy body, whether you get it on a conscious level or a subconscious level, through the sounds, through the colors, through the treatments. And the most amazing energy healers seem to gravitate towards spa, and they can literally heal people with their hands and the energy flowing through them. Now, I know that this isn't really something new to most of you. You all know these things. But what I'm here to tell you is at Feel Lab, we have a special form of quantum nutrition that you take like a vitamin, like a supplement for your physical body. This is a vitamin for your energy body. And this can really enhance health and wellness, along with all the other things I mentioned, but something you can do every day and evening to clear out that energy body. Now, you might be thinking, well, how does that work, right? Well, I mentioned I was a World Cup skier for many, many years. I skied on World Cup for 16 years in freestyle mogul skiing, which is a really long time for somebody who's doing freestyle. And actually, if you count up all the years from the day I made the World Cup team to the day I retired, it's actually 21 years. But in there, I was injured many times. In fact, in the first 7 years, I had 7 knee surgeries. Most people retire after one, but I was persistent and determined, and I kept fighting to get there. And what I realized in hindsight was I was really tangled in my energy body, and it was blocking those physical advancements. I know that sounds so metaphysical, but we can actually show through science how and why that was. So you have to think of it like a toolkit. So as an elite athlete, you are looking for the littlest thing to give you an advantage. I mean, it's milliseconds that make the difference between first and 8th place, right? So on World Cup, I had great massage therapists. I obviously had a great diet. I would get enough sleep, but I just kept being challenged and almost felt pinched off, or something was blocking me. And so when I was 5, I wanted to compete in the Olympics. So I was very, very determined to make this goal happen. And I had missed many Olympic games due to injury. And so when I was training for the 2006 Olympics, the sports psychologist said, make sure you visualize with all 5 of your senses. And I could do all of them, but smell. I had no idea what it smelled like to ski well. So I thought, I'll find a fragrance, I'll wear it just for skiing, and it'll be my scent of competition. Only I was highly dissatisfied with commercial blends. They would often give me a headache. They would even burn my nose. I did some research. I found out how toxic they can be. In fact, they say commercial fragrances can be more toxic for you than oil and gasoline at a garage. And we're putting that on our largest organ, our skin. And obviously, I wanted something that was going to empower me and help me be the brightest and best version of myself. So at the time, I was studying chemical engineering at Colorado School of Mines, and I thought, well, I should apply my background and make my own. And so I dove into that and I took courses in Gros, Thailand, and New York and became a certified perfumer. Now, the reason I'm giving you this history is I want you to understand how it came about and how we figured out how what we were doing could be so effective for helping people be the brightest and best versions of themselves. So for me, I started making these concoctions out of very pure, 100% authentic essential oils. So essences from the biological world and in all shapes and sizes, but 100% pure. And it was having this profound effect in helping me get into the zone. So for elite athletes, the zone is that feeling and emotion of skiing perfectly or performing perfectly, not being able to put a foot wrong, where things just flow. And for me, what I realized in hindsight is I was so tangled in the energy body that it was so much effort for me to get into the zone. And out of pure heart and will, I was able to do it, but not consistently. So in those first 7 years, I maybe won World Cups here and there, but I wasn't consistently being the brightest and best version of myself. And in fact, we'd usually have about 8 to 13 World Cups every weekend in a different country. And the first two, I'd be getting settled in. The next three, I'd usually perform pretty good. And then the ones after that, forget about it. I was exhausted. It would just take so much time and effort to get around all of the things that were holding me back to get into the zone until 2006, when I started making these concoctions and these pure essential oils, what we call now the quantum nutrition. And just by wearing that through that sense, the most important sense, and in fact, the sense that's directly related to the part of the brain associated with memory and emotion. And when you're trying to invoke the zone, elite athletes do all kinds of stuff, right? We do a ton of visualization through our sense of sight. We often drink a certain drink the morning of competition. So we have that taste in our mouth. We have a lucky pair of socks. I would always wear the same thing for competition day. So there's no way competition day would come on and I'd trade in my fleece for a wool sweater. That wasn't happening because I needed that feel. And I was trying to invoke that emotion and that feel. But I and all the other athletes were overlooking our most important sense that's directly related to the part of the brain associated with memory and emotion, that memory of skiing perfectly and that emotion and that feeling of skiing perfectly. So that was why when I started making the concoctions, it was having such a profound effect on me and my performance. And not just me and my performance. Incidentally, the next 7 years, I was injury free. I won multiple World Cups back to back. I was World Cup champion, silver medalist, national champion. I had a lot of good success, even later in life for what you would consider a prime for a mogul skier. And it wasn't just me who was being affected by this. I had this pink sparkly neck gaiter with sequins all over it, and I doused it with my concoction. In fact, I have it right here, this little guy. And yet I had boys on the tour that would literally tackle me to use this neck gaiter for their competition run, even though it was pink with sequins. They didn't care. And for some of them, it worked really well. And for some of them, it didn't. So I started making different variations of concoctions for various athletes. And that was really effective. In fact, Jen Heidel, I think, has the record still for the most World Cup wins for a woman in mogul skiing to this day. And she's a advocate and addicted to our Focus blend, which I made her when we were on World Cup. So that's a lot to say, but that was where we started. And when I retired after the 2010 Olympics, I really came from the hard science, and I wanted to show people how and why this was working from a more scientific perspective. So obviously, I thought this is aromatherapy. And this gets into how aromatherapy misses the mark just a little bit, and how and why you can pick the right essences to really be customized for the individual. So this is where we really started diving into research, and I bought up every single aromatherapy book we could find. And I realized fairly quickly why it doesn't get the notoriety, the credibility that it really deserves as a true medicine that's been around for 3,000 years. A lot of the information contradicted itself. There wasn't a lot of scientific data backing it up. And there seemed to be a complete lack of understanding of how and why it really worked. So I thought, well, I'm going to use my background and I'm going to provide scientific data to back up how and why aromatherapy is so effective for health and wellness and reaching optimal performance, physical performance, mental performance, emotional performance, whatever it may be for you. And that took us down a long path. And again, I'm trying to show how and why aromatherapy is so effective, but ultimately what we found is it misses the mark a little bit. Einstein told us about 120 years ago, E equals mc squared. Energy is matter and matter is energy. It's just a conversion factor of the speed of light squared. 186,000 miles per second, speed of light squared. It's just a conversion with that to convert. It's like converting meters to feet, right? So everything is energy. And when you look at it from that perspective, it really flips things around. So we're looking at ways of measuring an essential oil as a whole. From all the research I could see, they were breaking it into compartments and analyzing individual molecules. Well, if you did that to the human body, you would take the key molecules that make up the human body and you'd be like, okay, here you go, here it is. But you would be missing something like iron, which is 0.03% of the makeup of the human body, but without it, we would die. So I took the same philosophy into looking at essential oils that have thousands of molecules, but the standard practice of analyzing essential oils was to break them into their major components and look at that for any medicinal purposes. And I saw that as a bit of a flaw and maybe why we weren't able to explain from a scientific perspective their effectiveness. So we looked at various ways of measuring essential oils as a whole. So we looked at measuring the thermal conductivity through it, the resonance frequency, the displacement, the surface area, and actually what we ended up landing on was measuring the electromagnetic energy. And I was at Colorado School of Mines at the time and working with some really brilliant professors who didn't think we would see any difference from essential oil to essential oil. But not only did I prove that there was a difference, I proved that it was visible, viable, and quantifiable. So we could literally measure the electromagnetic energy of hundreds of different essential oils. And we were able to classify them into 6 different, what we call energy waves. So there'd be a wave over here that was like 180 kilojoules per mole, and it had about 20 essential oils in it that had a very similar energy footprint. And on the flip side of that was about 280 kilojoules per mole with about 20 essential oils in it that had a very similar energy footprint. And there are about 6 different energy categories. Well, we were like, so what? What does that really mean? How is that helping us prove anything? So we started looking for commonalities in each groupings, and we looked at their physical properties, major chemical constituents, and social emotional properties. Now, again, the professors were pretty convinced that it would be in major chemical constituents that were representing the difference we were seeing in the electromagnetic energy. And again, that wasn't the case. It was actually in the social emotional properties. So everything that vibrated in, say, 200 kilojoules per mole had properties that said that it opens the mind and releases fear. Another category, 180 kilojoules per mole, said it boosts energy and invokes confidence. And so for the longest time, that was what we had to go on. And we named each category after that emotional property that we were seeing as a commonality. And again, I'm really wanting to show this from science. So I wasn't too psyched on the fact that, or too excited about the fact that we were pulling from basically 3,000 years of storytelling that tell us magnolia releases fear, or rose boosts confidence. Although that's a pretty significant data pool, it wasn't as concrete as I wanted. At the time, I owned a salon and spa in downtown Denver, and I was using it as a testing facility and a research lab. So every client that I had come in was doing a biofeedback device that was reading their heart rate, their body temperature, their blood pressure, their galvanic skin reaction, and all the acupuncture points in their hand, and spitting out a baseline reading on them. Through that, we would determine which out of the 6 energy waves would benefit them the most, and they would go into the treatment room and use 3 to 5 of these products within that energy wave and conclude with their wellness tea, and we would measure their frequency again, and we could literally show them how much their energy was shifting upon interaction with the right energy wave. And this is where I think it gets so interesting, and this is where quantum nutrition was born, and how we customize for the individual, and how we combine the right essential oils to be the most powerful energy medicine that is available. And through our case studies and research that just keep pouring in, we are getting such profound reaction from people just telling us what our research has always shown, how much it's helped them alleviate depression or have more restful sleep or lose weight. And the reason is when you look at everything from energy, it turns everything upside down from the standard way of thinking about things. So if you're looking at things in terms of energy, you must look at things in terms of destructive and constructive interference patterns. And I'm just going to bring this point together for you all and then take any questions. I don't want to talk your ear off on science, but this is so exciting. And what really allows us to provide such an effective quantum nutrition that's having a profound effect on people's wellness is through this. So if you think back to high school algebra, I'm only going to be here for a second, so just bear with me. You remember a sine wave and a cosine wave, and they're opposite. So if you add them together, you get a straight line. This is what we call a destructive interference pattern, whereas sine squared amplifies the wave and you get double the energy. This is a constructive interference pattern. Examples in real life are noise canceling headphones have crystals in them that are destructive to our frequency of sound. So you get no sound. Whereas laser light can shoot through this building and the next and the next. It's very, very powerful because it's a whole bunch of energy from the electromagnetic spectrum that's added together in constructive interference patterns, really amplifying the energy, making it very, very strong energy, laser light. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. So if you take 20 or so essences from the biological world, which plant, flower, and herb essences vibrate at such a higher frequency than we do. And if we take that high frequency in its purest form and add it together with 20 or so other essential oils with a similar energy footprint, you really amplify the energy in the bottle. Combine that with the fact that we use only Phi proportions in sacred geometry, which this part I cannot prove from science, but we are working on the research here, but we suspect that the Phi proportions actually implode the energy on itself, increasing and enhancing the energy in our bottles, in our quantum nutrition. So you have this really, really powerful energy in a bottle. And now what, right? Now what? Well, we found a way to determine somebody's signature frequency. And for those of you who don't know, that might sound a little questionable, but we can actually show that everybody has a very unique signature frequency. This has been proven in science. It's more unique than your fingerprints. And if we can get at what that signature frequency is, we can match it to one of our 6 energy waves in a constructive way that, for lack of a better word, it blows out the tangles we carry in that energy body. Now, this energy body is it is a real thing. If you think of the physical body, it's about 50 trillion cells, and each cell is 1.4 volts of electricity. That's over 70 trillion volts of electricity. We know from Maxwell's equations in quantum physics that around every electrical current is an electromagnetic field. It's that energy in motion. It is literally your emotions, and we all have it. And if we can tap into that signature frequency, match it in a constructive way to this energy, we can blow out those things in the energy body that are holding us back from getting a restful night's sleep, from performing at an elite level. And it really has, just with the massive number of feedback and comments we're getting from around the world, it's really has the ability to take health and wellness to a whole nother level. In fact, they say if we could just focus 50% of our efforts that we use to treat people once they're sick on keeping people well, we would eliminate 70% of all diseases. And this is the key. So that's it in a nutshell. I can say so much more, and we can dive deeper into all of these things, but I'd like to see if there's any questions.
That was so fantastic. That was really good, and we loved the story. I'm sure everybody did, especially about the Olympics and your history on how you kind of built up to this. I think, guys, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat section. You can just type in your questions and I'll relay it on to Michelle. I think, Michelle, you see, just a quick question from myself before we go into other questions is, you see all of these products, and you did say that how a lot of energy, is the word to put it in, is going in behind making sure that they're scientifically proper. And it's not just, stories or something that we're building on. What's the future of these products looking like? Where are you going with it? And where do you expect, or what's your vision really to see people and this product together, if that makes sense?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Saeed. Gosh, our mission is to heal the world one bottle of flowers at a time. And I mean that with my whole heart. And it is possible. And we're already seeing it happen. I think when you look at things in terms of energy, you start looking at this emotional component, that energy in motion, that electromagnetic frequency that vibrates around all of us, where diseases and ailments are manifesting. And that is a different approach to treating illnesses, to helping people be well, right? And keeping you well in the first place. So gosh, I am not at all saying standard medicine is bad in any way. I mean, once things manifest in the physical, you sometimes need more physical things to help heal. But what I am saying is, I don't believe you can have full healing without also healing that much larger energy body and the issue that brought it into physical form in the first place. So we really want to bring our research to the masses. We feel like we have this amazing product and this amazing research, and I'm a scientist and a researcher first and foremost. So figuring out the right avenues to share what we found with as many people as possible is where we want to go. We really want as many people as possible to be able to experience the really healing power of the energy in our products, and how that can interact with your own energy in such a significant way that it'll really make you be the brightest and best version of yourself. We have so many people who write in and say, no one ever commented on my smile before, but after I started doing the FIA treatments, everybody says how bright my smile is, or I've lost 25 pounds, or I found my dream job. But like for me on World Cup, I was never going to get to that next level if I couldn't deal with the issues I didn't even know I had, right? So you carry things in your energy body, like, I don't know, a speeding ticket or fight with a significant other or some sort of family issue that you're having right in that moment or throughout the day, but also things we suppressed since childhood that we may not even realize or remember are even there. And there can even be things from other lifetimes that are just tangled in that energy body, and we need to work them out. And how do you do that if you don't even know they're there? But they do hold you back. And so the Fiat energy bouquets help unlock that. We'll get a lot of people who interact with the right energy wave and will just break out into tears because it's triggering something that needed to be released. I do see one question in the chat here I would love to answer. Thank you, Saeed, for that great question. Where was that? I think somebody was asking, how do you determine which energy wave matches your signature frequency?
Yeah.
Not
So
right
someone
now.
asked, how do we test our unique frequency?
Yeah,
And if I
yeah,
can add to that, I know you're gonna speak about the energy fit
yeah,
quiz, right?
right.
Can you kind of explain some backgrounds about that? Like, how does that work and why does it work? And just the science behind that as well.
Sure, sure. So ideally, I would love, and I've tried, to build a device that would measure the electromagnetic energy of a human, like we've done with the plant flower and herb essences when we tested all the essential oils. But if I did that, I would probably shock you to the point you could die. So we can't do that. So we've gone to plan B, which, if you think about what that signature frequency is, remember it's that energy in motion. It's literally your emotions. So we've come up with a way of trying to determine what that signature frequency is through social emotional questions from the perspective of your 5-year-old self. So your self in the world before somebody told you what you can and can't be, before somebody told you how to think or how to behave, right? So before any of that contaminated that true essence of you, we try to get at that with questions that are social emotional. So I told you I own a salon and spa, and I had it for over 10 years. And I would have every client who came in, they would fill out a 7-page questionnaire asking questions like I just explained. And then we would go back into my essence vault and we would choose from 60 to 80 individual essences and build their fragrance from the top, the bottom to the middle. They would take it home, they'd try out different variations, see how it reacted with their own body chemistry. And when they decided on their favorite formula, we made their concoction, put it in their own bottle, and they had a scent that was truly their own. But more importantly, we were able to test that on our device and put a frequency around it. So after doing hundreds and hundreds of those, we were able to compile all the data into a spreadsheet and build an algorithm out of it, which backs up our energy fit that you can do at fialab.com. So that is like 13 quick questions that really help us determine which out of the 6 energy waves will resonate best with your own signature frequency. And we've been running it for many years, and we continuously audit it because I continue to do the custom blends and add to the data backing it up. And I am very proud to say it seems to be running at about a 90% effective rate at predicting the right energy wave for that individual.
Perfect. We had a comment from Katrina. She said her internet's a little bit shaky, but thanks so much for sharing all the info. She's taken a lot in. It's just if you have any questions, Katrina, do put it in. We have a question from Sam. Which Fia product has the highest concentration of quantum nutrition? Which product is a good place to start? And I'll just reiterate something on that question as well, which is, ideally we'd like to just, take the whole shelf and go home and try it all. But what would you say is an ideal journey for someone to kind of not move away, but, have that transition between, commercial products, mass produced products to now using something like Fia products or quantum nutrition products, really? So where's the journey and how does that work?
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for that question. That's a great question, Sam. The heart of our line is our energy bouquet. So as I've mentioned, it has nearly it has all the essential oils in that specific category interacting in that constructive way. And one drop of it lasts about 6 hours. And you actually put it on your largest organ, your skin, on pulse points. It goes into your bloodstream instantly and can have a profound effect. You also want to smell it on your body. I think a lot of people think of this as perfume. It's not at all perfume. It's a vitamin. It's like you take your vitamins in the morning, you put a drop on your pulse points, spread around, smell, interact, maybe put a little intention around it and go throughout your day. And then before you go to bed, you do the same thing. However, we realized the need to get this out in a greater way that made it easier for people to use and wasn't as a lot of people were thinking of this in the beginning as a perfume. And, obviously that wasn't attracting everybody because this is for children and men and women and all spectrums of people. It can really benefit. So what we did is I used the salon and spa as a testing facility to make really beautiful, all natural, organic hair, skin, body care products. They are standalone, awesome, all natural hair, skin, body care products that will make your hair look and feel like silk. They clean and moisturize your skin. They nourish and moisturize your body, which can get so dry here in Colorado. Hair and body serum is one of our top sellers. Even if you knew nothing about our line, you would love just the feel and how protective it is and moisturizing it is. But what we did is we took this all natural hair, skin, body care line, and we used it as our delivery system for our really unique quantum nutrition. So all the products are infused with the essential oils from each of the categories. Now, if you use this one, you get all of them in one. This packs the largest punch, the biggest impact. But if you use, say, the shampoo, it has about 5 essential oils from that category. The conditioner has about 3, and the hair and body serum has about 13. So you use all 3 and they add up to this. The reason this is important, well, we couldn't put this in all of them because it would just be way too overwhelming for people. But the reason that we needed to branch off into these hair and body skin products is because of that constructive and destructive interference pattern that we talked about earlier. I mentioned we set out to prove how and why aromatherapy is so important, and ultimately found it misses the mark. And that being so, because an aromatherapist might say, oh, you're having trouble sleeping, let's add a little lavender. Oh, you really like the scent of rose, let's add a little rose. Where we at FeelLab would say, no, don't do that. Because rose and lavender have destructive interference patterns. And so they literally dissipate the effect of those essential oils on their own. And the effect of the essential oils on their own is so profound. The last thing we want is it to be dissipated. So if you're having this amazing energy experience in the shower with your Charisma shampoo, conditioner, body wash, and then you step out and you wash your face with essences that are destructive or worse, synthetic fragrances, you're sort of dissipating that experience that you just got in the shower. So we really wanted to make it all encompassing so you can get your quantum nutrition fully every day, very easily in products that we use every day.
Perfect. There's another question from Ismail, which is, what would be the best product for weight loss? And also a general question from him, which is, when do we start seeing effects or noticing differences by using or switching to this method?
Great question, Ismail. Thank you so much. Everybody is really, really unique. So there is not a one shop fits all. So that's another area with aromatherapy where I believe they miss the mark. Whereas they may say, you're having trouble sleeping, here's lavender. And that may be great if lavender is a constructive frequency to your own signature frequency, but it may give you a reaction, a rash, or keep you awake if it's a destructive frequency pattern to your own signature frequency. So how would you determine which product can help you lose weight? Well, that's determining which out of the 6 energy waves is a constructive match to your signature frequency. And if you find that, then what happens is it blows out those tangles from the energy in the energy body that weigh down your energy in such a way that you're not making healthy choices for your body. And you'll even have not healthy food cravings. But if you're the brightest and best version of yourself and you're clear, then you only crave things that will feed and nurture your body, that your physical body needs. And that is how it helps you lose weight. It helps you move in a direction of making healthy choices for your body based on your energy, right? And you don't have to understand that from a conscious perspective, but it's more powerful if you do. And we hope through these webinars we can start spreading the knowledge in this more and more, and give more people a conscious awareness of how and why this is affecting them so much. But even if you didn't, even if you're just using it, it's clearing out that energy body, which will help prevent you from having those unhealthy cravings and getting weighed down with energy that makes you think that you need to be eating more, when in fact you just need to clear out that energy body, and you're not even going to have even the hunger or cravings for things that aren't feeding that light. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that was perfect. And on that note, obviously we had loads of questions, and I hope everyone's got their question answered. Just a quick update. We are planning to have these webinars more often. So, and we are going to be recording them and sending it out to you guys. We know we had lots of people that wanted to attend the webinar, but obviously, things happen. It gets difficult to attend, but we'll definitely be sharing the recording. I've also added, so we're launching a community channel on Telegram. The idea behind the community channel is just to get people to engage, learn more about the community, learn more about quantum nutrition as a whole. Definitely, exactly what Michelle was talking about, getting you to in that conscious mode, into being more like kind of caring and kinder to our mind, body, and soul. So, I'm sharing the link, guys, to the community channel. Definitely, try to join it if you have Telegram. I've also linked the website there. I'm sure everyone already knows what the website is if you want to check anything out. And I've also, put the energy frequency test as well, if you want to take the test. And it's not about just taking the test once, like from time to time, try to rethink and take the test again. You might see a difference in your wave, I'm sure. And also we're always making it better. Michelle's always working really hard on it to kind of make it as accurate as possible so that you're getting more feedback back. So I think that's it from us. And that's it from Michelle as well.
Laura, I see you in the chat. So nice to see you, Cheryl. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this platform for our first ever webinar. I'm so happy to have you guys part of the Thea community, and I'm so thankful and grateful to have this opportunity to share Thea and the research that we've done on a greater scale. Thank you so much.
I think we had 2 more questions. Can we squeeze them in, Michelle?
Sure.
Okay. So one question was, will Lavender 118 and Jasmine energy frequency go together?
Lavender and Jasmine? No.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And then also Angel is asking, I use grounding hair and body serum every day, but it was a signature essence when I took the question. So it was the signature essence, right? When I took the question, I was able to test all the oils at a local spa. I probably need to take the test again. So it's more of a comment, but definitely do take the test again, check it out. If you've got questions, by the way, you can always email michelle@thealab.com. I personally know that Michelle loves to put 120% in. And if you email her, it might be a few days late, but you'll definitely get an answer, right? I'll just put that out there. She's always working really hard. She's they're putting not just the products first, but the community first. So if you have a question, definitely send an email over, and we'll definitely she'll definitely make some time to answer. And if we see a question that's proper, common, then we'll definitely have a webinar on it. That was the plan. And so, yeah, thanks for joining. Michelle, you can do the closing statement. And yeah.
Yeah, sorry, just a couple more quick comments. When it comes to the Energy Fit, try not to put too much thought into one question and mark the first thing that comes to mind. Again, we're trying to get to that perspective of your 5-year-old self, or as young as you can remember, and how that person would answer the question. So that's one. And two, I can't believe I forgot to mention that we have exciting giveaways to give to some of the lucky, beautiful FIA community people who are on the call today. We have we were going to do these really beautiful crystal necklaces that you can fill. I don't know if you can see them, but this is a rose quartz crystal. It's beautiful. And you can fill it right here with your energy bouquet wave. And when you wear it right next to your heart. And it is really helping give off that vibration. Now, I know, gosh, when you talk about crystals, I feel like it goes so metaphysical, but listen, crystals are what make up computers, right? We program crystals to retain information and to give information out. And these crystals are programmed to radiate out the energy that you need. So I think we have 3 of these going. We've got one in the rose quartz crystal, we've got one in clear quartz, and one in beautiful tiger's eye. And just really fun way to bring in the quantum nutrition. And who doesn't like something fancy? So we will be, I think Saeed's going to be sending an email out, or myself, to 3 lucky winners, or maybe Saeed, you have more to comment on that.
Yeah, so we'll choose 3 winners that joined in the live webinar, and we'll be sending out. So kind of look out for the emails and see if you are one of the lucky winners. And if you're not, don't worry. Number 1 is you can always purchase it. Number 2 is upcoming webinars, we're going to have way more giveaways. That's the plan. So yeah, we'll send out the email probably this time tomorrow. And once we choose the winners, it'll be random. And hopefully next time we'll have a way where we can choose the winners on the webinar itself. But for now, this was a great first webinar. I'm really excited to have these going on every month, growing the community. And I'm sure, Michelle, you're much more excited than me.
I'm so grateful and thankful, and looking for any way to just share the energy and FIA with as many people as possible. So thank you so much, everybody.
Perfect. Okay, we'll close the webinar here for today, and just look out in the emails for the recording, and pass it on to others as well. Let others learn about the quantum nutrition. Let other people, really enjoy this holistic way of approaching, products. Okay, bye-bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Love you. Mwah.